Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings, 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 greetings. Yes, sir. It's good to be here once again. Once again. So good to be here with you to talk about these agents and the duties of agents. Agents and their duties. You have to know that no matter what we're doing, there are agents around us. I told you this white man is losing power. He's losing power. Greetings, brother Ari Thax. Greetings, brother. Glad to have you here with us today. Glad to have you here with us today. And we have to know that these devils are losing power. They put some of their demons in charge. Black demons. They put in charge to keep you and I in control. That whole purpose and the only purpose of anyone black taking over the white man's plantation. I told you, and we've talked about it, brothers and sisters. I've already told you. He's not going to leave anybody in charge. He's not going to leave anyone in charge that can't fulfill his will. He's not going to do it. So don't forget to subscribe, to like, to thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Brothers and sisters, I'm very happy to be here with you, and we're making great ground. They had us off for a week, but you and I are making great ground because we decided that we will continue to push. And I know the devil is mad with us right now. The devil is mad. The white devil is mad. The blonde hair white devil is mad. The blue eye white devil is mad. The brown hair white devil is mad. And the green eye devil is mad. They're angry. They're angry. Some of them have brunette hair. Some of them have red hair. And they're angry with us because we've decided to move forward. We decided to move forward. And there's no better threat to the white man than black people who decided to stand together. There's no better threat. I don't know about you, but I'm happy. So happy. So satisfied that you and I, here we are with another day where we're fighting, brothers and sisters, to do God's will. And I can't help but to be thankful for that. Can't help but to be thankful. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up when you come on. When you come on, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up so that we'll know you out there. Show your face. I want to see you. Even those that may not agree, we're still brothers and sisters. Good evening, Sister Donna. Peace. Good to see you as well. Good to see you. This is going to be an amazing subject. I was just researching and found out some other things that I didn't know. Recent things, and actions that the white man is committing right in front of our very eyes through our own people. Through our own people. We're going to talk a little bit about T.I. today. Yeah, we're going to talk about T.I. We're going to talk about a lot of sellouts. We're going to talk about it. How they welcoming these white folks in. Thanking these white folks. They got this one show where T.I. is thanking this white lady, a white she-devil named Jane Elliott. Has anybody ever heard of Jane Elliott? I mean, here Martin Luther King and Minister Malcolm X have lost their life. Literally lost their life standing up for you and I and putting out information, putting their life on the line, that you and I would know that we would crack this ceiling of oppression and break through with the power of liberation having a liberated spirit, liberated mind, and everything. And these demons can't do no better than put white folks up and start praising them. Brothers and sisters, it's a shame. It is a shame. How many black leaders have we lost? How many true black leaders do we have to lose before our brothers and sisters that are still in darkness, still in ignorance, learn that we have to unite, we have to protect our leaders, and we got to protect our own lives? I'm just asking a question. I want to know. I really want to know. I really want to know the answer to this question, because I don't know. How many of us have to die, have to be killed by this American white man before we wake up, before we see he's a danger to our society? How many of us have to be laid out before these coons, agents that are hiding among us in plain sight, before they wake up and realize that the white man's only end game is the self-annihilation of the house Negro and the field Negro? That's his game. That's what he wants to do. He has nothing else for us. He has no other place to put us. The prisons are too full, and he can't keep you there every day. And then on this plantation, you're running him over on his plantation. You're outdoing him in education. You're outdoing him in science and all these things. So the white man is afraid of you. He's afraid of you. And anything he fears, he's going to kill. So brothers and sisters, in this day and time, you and I have to know what our position is today, how we're standing, and what our end game is. Because I have to be honest. I have to be honest with you. You have to know it. That this man that brought you to this land brought you over here for one thing. There's only one reason he brought you. Just one. And that is so you can work the land. That's it. He brought you over here as a back. This white man, your friend. He brought you over here to do work. And you can't change it. It doesn't matter how nice you are. Doesn't matter how brilliant you are. You won't coon your way in. You won't pray your way in and you won't even beg your way in, because there are black coons blocking that interest anyway. But even if you were to get in, you would be dead before you got out. Because the white man who brought you here and enslaved you has his own plans for you. Now, brothers and sisters, you got people that are saying right now, especially some of Farrakhan's kind. Is that all right? Can I say Farrakhan's kind? Because those are certain types and certain kinds of Muslims that are different from the authentic Muslim. There are certain other Muslims. And they'll come and defend the fact that their leader, Louis Farrakhan, has picked out whites and have picked out other house Negroes to keep, the white man's house in order. And I want you to understand this, because I know we hit very strong points and then we come back to the same basics. I do that because I want you to know that foundationally, the black man on a large scale is doomed. We can't do nothing about it. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much education you have. You have to know in the final analysis that when the white man lose everything, he's not going to leave anything for you to hang on to. You got to know that. It's no other way. And there's no sense in you and I ever thinking, and I'm telling you this because I don't want the agents to come before you telling you of some other knowledge, telling you of some deeper lie. I don't want them doing that. I don't want to give them a chance. But there are those asking now, is there some way that the white and black man can work together? Brother and sister, there's no way. There's no way. All the prophets have tried to work with this man. You name a prophet and I'll tell you those who have tried to work with this man. There was Abel. Abel was the first prophet to give a perfect sacrifice after the fall of man from the garden, listening to the white man who had him ousted from the garden. And all you have to do is study the checklist and you'll find out that the brother is not in error. And as soon as he had them to disobey the commandments of God, because that's what the fruit trees and all of that was all about, obeying the commandment of God. As soon as he had them to disobey the commandment of God and were thrown out of the garden, this same Satan had possessed, or shall I say, this action of disobedience, if it's better to say that, had possessed Cain. And so Abel and Cain, as herdsmen or countrymen, one was a shepherd and the other one was a farmer, if you will. And each of them gave a sacrifice, but Cain was a more acceptable, or rather, Abel was a more acceptable sacrifice because he hoped to please God. And not that both of theirs wouldn't be accepted, but the mindset of obedience would tell us that obedience is better than sacrifice. Isn't that right? That if I'm obedient to God and I do his will, then that obedience will be better than the repercussions of not doing his will. Now, what are the repercussions of not properly cooking and offering food to God? Then you don't eat. So if a man don't work, you don't eat. And that phrase is as simple today as it was back then. Why? Because they had to work. This was part of the promise that God told them when they were thrown out of the garden. Now you have to till the soil by the sweat of your brow. You won't have natural properties that come up that are good to eat. Now, because you're not in the garden, because you've allowed the enemy to bring you out of your comfort zone. I hope you're listening to me. I hope you can hear me. Because you have allowed the enemy to cheat you from what God has for you, you will be thrown out of the garden, man. And now you will have to till the soil by the sweat of your brow. You will have to bring forth food to eat by the sweat of your brow. Otherwise, in the garden, you had food yearly, and the trees would yield fruit yearly so that you'd be able to eat. But you're out of the garden now. Oh, I hope you hear me. And so, since you're out of the garden, you'll have to work to eat, and you'll have to work at being civilized, and have to work at being human, have to work at being godly wise in order to fulfill the purposes of God. So the first thing I want you to do is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and thy neighbor as thyself. Now, I want to explain who the neighbor is, because I know Farrakhan has Nuri and Wesley and Ishmael and some of the others teaching this false doctrine. Who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is anyone who strives with you, that have the same objective and the same goal. That's your neighbor. That's why when Peter asked Jesus, who's your neighbor? He said, anyone you pass daily. In other words, those that are inside of your own community that are working the same process that you're working, that is your neighbor. This is important, brothers and sisters, because the white man teaches that he's your neighbor. He's not your neighbor. When you said neighbor, this is talking about a unit of people that have decided to live together, having the same objective and same goal. So the white man knows that you're not his neighbor, proof of which he kills you, beats you, hang you, drag you. Isn't that right? Shoot you, cut you, do whatever he wants, because he knows that he's not your neighbor. He already knows it. You may not know that you're not his neighbor, but he damn sure knows that he's not your neighbor. And so he knows that Jesus, a black man from Ethiopia, a Palestinian, a world-marked leader, said that I came to my own first. Isn't that right? Isn't that what Jesus said? I came to my own, and they received me not, because Jesus understood what neighbor to be a neighbor was. So he's saying, I came to the Palestinian. Those are my direct blood, and they didn't receive me. So then I went to other black brothers and sisters. When he said I went first of all to those who were chosen, that group among Africans who were chosen to deliver the law. I came to them. I came to them. But when they wouldn't receive this truth, then I went to other Africans. He wasn't talking about going to the white man. Brothers and sisters, this is the reason why we have to study. Because if you misquote, see, this revolutionary Jesus, if you would misquote him and make him nonviolent and docile, then the white man will keep hanging you. And you'll keep letting him hang you, talking about we gotta love. Because you don't want to do anything against what the white Jesus is talking about. And you and I have get to the area where we go beyond that. And why are we always these foundations, bro? Why are we always building these foundations? We build them because every day that you hear knowledge, there's always someone to reach in and take it, or someone to reach in and make you doubt. There's a wise Satan in the universe that will come through dumb devils, will come through dumb demons. Demons are anyone that will allow the white man to possess them. And when we build these foundations over and over and over again, we're talking about the same truth. We do it so you won't be confused. Because you got black people thinking right now that the white man is their neighbor. And you and I both know that the white man is not your neighbor. The Bible says, how can two walk together unless they agree? Isn't that right? Isn't that right? The Quran says the same thing. How can two work together unless they be about the same employ? It's the same thing. Very same thing. So you and I, brothers and sisters, have to understand that neighbors are people of the same condition, same culture, same religion, same mores, same foreways, same speech, same superstition, whatever it may be, same religion, same custom. This is what a neighbor is. A neighbor is someone who understands you, understands your plight, and understands your ploy. That's what a neighbor is. And you have to understand, you really have to understand what a neighbor is. Now, when you understand what a neighbor is, then you'll begin to understand the peculiarity among neighbors. Because I want you to understand that the white man will never come in your community boldly in front of you, and could never do it boldly in front of you at this rate, to kill anyone or misguide anyone in the community. He can't do it. I'll tell you why. Because you're waking up, he's afraid to just come to your community and start havoc and wreak havoc. He's afraid for that now. And you'll see that there's going to be a quiet before the storm. That black people are going to look to be in peace. They won't be in peace. Because there are agents hiding among us in plain sight. You and I have to admit that. That they're hiding. They're so convenient that you and I don't know where they come from. We don't know where they're going, but we do know who they are. And we have to talk about it from the highest echelon down to the lowest valley. We got to talk about it. That these agents are people that you know have been in the community a long time. And they have duties. There are certain duties that these agents have. They have to complete these duties. The white man now got so many black people willing to sell out that he don't have to search. Peace and greetings, dear brother Jesse. He don't have to look. He don't have to prune. He don't have to search every coon. All he has to do is offer them a little money. Just a little money. For them to do their master's will. Now, I ask you, who would be fool enough to take the American dollar, which isn't worth much anymore, can't do much anymore, certainly can't do nothing for you, and it can't do anything for me. Who would be foolish enough, my brothers and my sisters, to do something like that today? I don't know of anyone that would be that foolish. Unless he's an agent of the white man. And that's what we have. You and I have agents hiding among us in plain sight. We've got white heads and black hands. And these white heads are telling these black hands to do the will of their masters and to do evil to their own people. Because they look like us, they're able to do these things and get out of the way. And you and I are so understanding that we'll continue to allow them to be in our company. We'll continue to talk to them in the stores. We'll continue to talk to them in the auto body shops. We'll continue to talk to these traders of their own race in the barbershop and any other place that we meet them. You and I will do that. Brothers and sisters, why do you and I do it? Well, one of the reasons that we do it is because we're sick. We're sick, brothers and sisters, as a race. Now, we may not be sick individually. We may not be sick psychologically. Well, not totally. Because many of us are carrying psychological illness every day because we experience racism every day. I know I would carry it. Sometimes I'm just stressed out about the race issue. So I have to be honest about that. I'm pissed off a lot of times about the race issue. But I'm more pissed off because you don't have black people willing to stand up. You don't have it. So as a result of not having somebody to stand up, then we find ourselves in a trap where we suffer psychologically from an invisible oppression that is evident among us by the way that these devils treat us. Beyond a doubt. And, excuse me, brothers and sisters, something in my eye. And there are many black people, who are victims of this maltreatment. many black people. You can't get around it. I believe Michelle Alexander wrote a book toward this post-traumatic slave disorder. There have been other writers to write books against it or about these illnesses. And I've written 2 books on the illness of the black man called manic aggressive personality disorder, which only means that this feeling that we have, the docile training, so to speak, under racial oppression, is giving way and losing hold of the black mind, of the black man and the black militia. And I say in the book that you will find that when the docile creature can never be tamed, then in with the docility, but out comes the beast. You mark my word, brothers and sisters. Mark my word. When I tell you that anyone, this is what I'm putting out before you because I want you to know. Anyone that is successful, anyone that is successful in the black community that's trying their best to educate you and I on how they gain that success would never get the attention, never get the attention that our people will give to white people. Is that right or wrong? There's a reason for that. The reason is, and I know a lot of people are speaking about it, is the Stockholm Syndrome. And this Stockholm Syndrome, what it does is, under racial oppression, it makes you suppress your wants, your needs, your desire, your competence, and it exudes a negative feeling about oneself and one's neighbor based on the color of the skin. So it creates within us self-hatred. Isn't that right? And we see others progressing in the community, right? And see ourselves digressing. And the reason is because the design in the movement of oppression was not built for those who believe in breaking through oppression, or those that believe in building up dynasties of black business, black religious institutions, black educational institutions in this environment of plantationism. In plain, we were not expected and are not expected to teach in schools or teach any education that will go against the institutional teaching that will keep us oppressed. The education system that we're in has agents. They have white agents and they have black agents. Now, when I use agents in this term, I mean someone who is working for an institution, blindly or unblindly, that was not built to build up black men and women educationally, theologically, sociologically, psychologically, or mentally. It was not put in place to build us up. It was put in place to keep us down. And that's the reason why today many of the schools that we see are closing. Many of the funds for schooling have been cut because during the time that you are integrating the schools, you are merely doing it as a token piece. It was not intended to give you what could help you continue your life's work of building up the black community. The purpose of the integration bill was not even to put black and white people on the same grading scale of education, because I told you that teaching white nationalism works against you. But the agents in the school system, the teachers who take the test to teach your children and my children, are taking the test to teach or learn how to oppress us by teaching us a knowledge that has no relationship with our past. No relationship. And so you have to understand that there are many different agents that have duties to keep us down. So that's the one. We had black universities. We had black schools. We got black stores now too, but we had, in that time, anywhere that black people were, you found about 10 or 12 marks inside of that community. And the reason those marks were there so that you'd be able to buy food, and so that you'd be able to, in your own community, pull the resources in your community to beautify it, to edify it, and turn it into a type of capitalism that you can profit from. Not a white capitalism, but a black capitalism. So these agents in our community are those that are working for the state, working for the counties, working for the local municipalities. You have to know that. And I say this because, and even though this subject here is not a very touchy subject, not a very exciting subject, but there's a lot of intelligence in it and so much to get from it, because we'll begin to understand why we must build up our own community, why we have to build it up. We don't have a choice. You and I don't have a choice, because the white man community, I say again, was not built for you and I. The white police on the police department wasn't built for you and I. The housing market that the white man has when he's selling a new house wasn't intended for us. The only reason we're able to get it is because the white folks that are able to get the house will file bankruptcy and they have to put the house back on the market. The minute that you and I purchase that house, it gets them out of bankruptcy and it fixes their financial situation, because at some point they're recognized as real estate agents. At some point. You have to understand that. So they're making money hand over fist off of our backs. We receive an opportunity to rebuild his economy. We receive an opportunity to rebuild his economy anytime we purchase a new house because he can't afford it. I want you to understand that. So it's better for us to have our own communities, because if we have our own communities, then we're able to build up our own economy, build up our own institutions, build up our own jobs, our own employment, our own goals, and set in place our own culture, so we'll be able to teach those inside of our community that are younger. So you got one generation that is passing it off to the next generation. And these are things that we have to teach. But these are things that are interrupted too. Isn't that right? We're talking about agents, right? And the duties of agents. So we have many different agents and many different levels of agents that keep us down. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. We have entertainment. Entertainers. When is the last time that you've seen entertainers do anything for the black community? They may have done it in the past. They may have done it in the past, but they haven't done it in the future. If we go back during the time of Marvin Gaye, whenever he went somewhere, he embraced everyone he was with. If he performed, he embraced the black people that he was performing to. He knew where his bread and butter came from. So he never left the black community out. Not like the entertainers today. When you see entertainers today, they are dead set on making a profit, and they will appeal to white nationalism. What do I mean when I say they'll appeal to white nationalism? They'll appeal to white nationalism or white people for their market to keep money inside of their organization, their institution for entertainment. They'll appeal to white people. They don't build up their own. You have some of them that do, that they're learning that they have to have their own masters and things like that. But you have many of them that are just trying to get ahead and who really believe, we talk about psychological bondage, that agents have put in our mind what? Since grade school. What color were those agents? White. What color were those agents? Black. And by saying that, you understand how bad integration is for you and how bad it is for me. How bad it is for your child, how bad it is for my child. It has never worked. Integration would never work because the white man don't want to integrate with you. That's why we're having all of these troubles we're having today. Black folks trying to get in the white man's bedroom, trying to get in his kitchen, trying to get in his living room, and trying to get in his bathroom, trying to get in the shower with the white man, with the white woman, trying to get there. And so this investment, as our brother Jesse is pointing out for us, this investment means to invest in the black community, means to invest in buying property or land, to invest in buying and making our own institutions, to invest in having our own financial institutions, to invest in even having our own dollar in our community, having our own dollar in our community. If you go to Africa, which I've been on several occasions, and you see on the money, you see an African, take Selassie, Haile Selassie. Let's take him for instance. When you see Haile Selassie on the money in Ethiopia, it is because Ethiopia fought to keep its sovereignty. Now, I want to explain this to you because many people are under the misconception that America was never black, and that's not true. In fact, it's the total opposite. America was a black land. The black Native American, that's the term. The black Native American, that's the term, that had come here over thousands of years ago, maybe even millions, but at least 900,000 years ago that had come here to set up camp and to institute this land and to fertilize it and turn it back over to God. That in so much so, there's so much similarity between, if you look at the cultural dressing of the African on the continental Africa, you'll also see the cultural dressing of the native African American that is here in America. So when you see a red man, you see a red man, the one that the white man wants to call Indian, which is a result of amalgamation of the white and black man and different levels of colorism, different shades under that, different shades after integration, sexual intercourse with white people. You begin to see different shades among that race of African, the same way you see with us today when you see these devils marrying our brothers and our sisters. The same way you see different shades, different levels, different DNA, different genotype. So they change the melanic structure of that race. And when they've done it, that change may have disturbed what we see, but the knowledge is still there enough knowledge, enough DNA for us to understand that these are still our brothers and our sisters. And I hope you follow me here. I hope you follow me. Every time you saw the white man come and build an institution, the first thing he did, the first art of war, because he's the ultimate agent. You better hear me, brothers and sisters. I pray, God, that you understand what I'm saying. That the white man is the ultimate agent, and his first act of war and distortion is integration into our community. Integration begins with sex between white and blacks to produce a hybrid, because that's what it is, a hybrid that is neither white nor black, that has neither white nor black contention for the situation that they're in, because they have no knowledge of their past. And as a result of that, they don't even have knowledge of the situation that we're in America. And as a result of that, everything they learn keeps them in the middle of the road. And if you don't believe this, all you have to do is go back and study J.E. Rogers, and you'll find that most of the mulattoes, and you also go to Dr. Clark and listen to his lectures as well. You have also Dr. William Greer, Price M. Cobbs, which I was a student of Dr. William Greer for when I was in Chicago, also Detroit, and also California, who wrote the book Black Rage, and also wrote the book Black Rage 2. But to understand what really happens to us when we amalgamate and create mulatto children. I want you to understand that I'm not speaking racism, but what I'm speaking is survival. It's not good to create a breed that the white man can manipulate in feeling that because they have their blood, that they're somehow exempt. They're somehow exempt, which is nothing more than a higher form of racism on a different scale. Whereas when you're doing discrimination and racism based on race, on a higher scale, you're doing segregation that is based on race. And you have to understand that when the white man can no longer control you physically in chains, calling you monkeys, calling you devils and this and that when he got to the place, or rather not monkeys, calling you spooks and those things, because he's the devil. And when he could no longer do that, where across the globe you're fighting him, then he decided to say, well, they're human, it's a shame, slavery is a shame, this and that. So I tell you what, we're going to emancipate the slave, and after which, then everybody that he couldn't kill, he started raping and mating with and creating these hybrid of people. What did the white man do with these hybrid of people? If you look at the reconstruction of the Old South, the reconstruction period of the Old South, which was a 2-year period, 1865 to 1867, though it went on, the same as it's going on today, it went on deep into the 1900s. And I tell you, if you go back to research that, you'll find, brothers and sisters, if you go back to research it, you will find that when he put the mulatto in charge, the one that he had created, that this individual fulfilled the destiny of the white man quicker, and he was harder on you. And he was the hand, the black hand, right? And the white mind to such a degree that we knew that we had to come out of the bondage of that system, and we knew that we had to come off the plantation, the physical plantation. Because when the white man could no longer run a federalized plantation scheme where the states were able to have plantations and keep getting slaves, blacks began to overrun the plantation. So he said, this is done. This is over. But he said, how am I going to farm this land? And what am I going to do? Leave this land here? So he remembered where I had made it with Sister Josie. And I created this baby. I can't send the baby here on the farm because they know too much. And then I don't want everybody to know that I've been knocking up one of the slaves, so I'm going to send them to school in Europe. And that's what he did. He took all the mulatto people, sent them to school in Europe. If you look today, many of the ones that are fair-skinned, light-skinned, or whatever you want to call it, even today, they still believe in that system of superiority. The only ones that don't believe in it are the ones that are fight hard in black nationalism because they know what the real truth is. And the only reason they know what the real truth is because they experienced that racism to such a high degree that they came out of that haze, they came out of that mist, they came out of that heavy rain and realized that the white man is too racist to turn over any of his power to even them. Because no matter how light they are, no matter how intelligent they are, or anything like that, he still considers them a nigger. I'm building it up, right? I'm building the foundation. Talking about agents. We have to talk about different levels of agents. And because this is important for you to know. Now, our brother Jesse says, seeing that we have done this before, every time we build communities, they come and tear it down. Do you think things will be better this time? No, brother. No, sir. I don't think things will be better this time. I don't think things will be better this time. Unless, there's one way, brother Jesse, there's one way, brothers and sisters, tonight, there's one way that things will be better. Is that when we build up our communities, like we did in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before they bombed it, like we did in Central Park before they bombed that, and buried it with water and build on top of it. The Manhattan Harbor, this place we had there. We had beautiful city. We had Alabama, Cumberland. We had beautiful city there. We had Rosewood. That was a nice city that was up and coming. We got Atlanta and the results of Atlanta, Peachtree District and all of that, Lawrenceville, and all of these are nice cities. But the only thing we don't have is a black army to protect our cities. So that when these white people are running around crazy, that we can show them what crazy really is. We can show them, brother, what crazy really is. We have to have an army and we won't get around it. The one thing that the black people have failed to express is the one thing they have so much of, and that's rage. You and I have every reason to be angry, every reason to be upset, and every reason to be full of rage. And so we need armies. If we're going to win, we need armies. Now, we don't even have to have helicopters because now we have drones. We have the technology of drones, proof of which black people made drones. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. You would literally be surprised if I were to tell you that drones are over 50 to 60 years old in America. In America. 50 to 60 years old. They had them during the time of John F. Kennedy. Am I right? Let's see, 50 to 60 years. Let's see, what is it? Yes, they had them during the time of John F. Kennedy. And I want you to know that drone types are older than that. Drone types are older than that. They had those in the early 1910s. But the scale for drones that they had found and were building come all the way from Africa, thousands of years old. They even had airplanes during the Solomon's day. They had airplanes. And all you have to do is research this. You'll find out in modern marvels that they had airplanes. They had built literally airplanes that they were using. Gliders is what they called them. They were using to fly from one place to another. Fly in the heavens. In the heavens. So these are things I want to tell you. If you go back into the art of the Mayans and all of that, you will see flying machines that they had in Africa. You see the earliest flying machines are there. So what am I saying? That we have the technology today to defend ourselves against the white man. We have the willpower and we have the warfare to defend ourselves against the white man. That if we build these cities, we build these successful towns, we build our businesses, we start to use online for school and things of that nature, we get control of our own airways. I want my own radio station. I'm working on that right now. We build that for ourselves and buy the space that we all come together and build that for ourselves. You and I come together, because when we come on these sites, the white man manipulates it anyway. He'll freeze us. He freezes the screens and all of that. So if we come on his virtual television, right? Because that's what this is. Then he manipulates, right? As an agent, he manipulates our screen time. He manipulates me being able to communicate with you. But if we have our own, the white man is not going to raise a country or even a city without having an army. What do you think the police is? I said, what do you think the police is? That's an army. That's an army. That we don't look at it, but it is a military. It's a military regiment. Military regiment. What is the police there for? To protect the interests of the white man, to protect his power structure on a municipal level, to protect it. What do? The police see you speeding. Many of them lie, say that you're speeding and you're not, say that your lights are out and it's not, whatever it takes to get you a ticket. That's what they do. Then the minute you open your mouth and defend yourself, they busting you all upside your head, busting you all upside your mouth, right? Isn't that right? Right or wrong? Right or wrong? That's what they do. This is what the police does. Because they wasn't here for you and I as black people. They support the interests. Now, they never intended to get black police. Was never intended. Black police was an incident, right, that happened when the white man began to first lose his level of control. Let's go all the way back to the plantation. When you were on the plantation, you had white policemen, or what they call constables. This is where the American constable come from. He had white police. Police that were white, right? They called them marshals at the time. Is that right? Because they would keep law on the plantation. Constables that would keep law, keep the administration on the plantation, right? Right? That's right. So when these constables or these marshals were on the plantation, they were the law. When they were in the counties where the plantation was, they were the law. And it's important for you to understand that. You have to understand that the plantation were nothing but cities. That's all they were. That's all they were. You see Jones plantation in the past, you'll see a Jonesville now. If you saw a Miller plantation in the past, you'll see a Millerville now. If you saw a Brown plantation in the past, then you have Brownville. Wherever the plantation was, which was named after the man, then the city had gotten that name. Isn't that right? If you saw a Jewish plantation in the past in Atlanta called Rosewood, isn't that right? Right? If it was Rosewood Plantation, then it became Rosewood City, or the town of Rosewood, because the plantation were nothing but cities for that day. Now, when this slavery system, this slave stock started falling in the market because of the revolts, because you had black people killing white slave masters, started overrunning the plantations, then they decided that they should free your ancestors and my ancestors. And this is what happened. So they had to come up with a new scheme. They ended slavery, but they brought in sharecropping. If you don't know what sharecropping is, it means to give black folks land, same way it's happening today. Agents. So I said the white man is the first level of an agent. His position and his ability to come to you is his cloaking agent. The position cloaks him and it makes him an agent. He's an agent anyway because he's not a part of you. He's not interested in what you're interested in. He doesn't want what you want. His desires is not your desire. So he's an agent for white nationalism, just like you and I are working for black nationalism. So if we spy on him to find out what's going on, right? If we find out what he's up to and tell you we're working for black nationalism, isn't that right? If he has a black man, oh, I wish you could hear me today, that he sends out that looks like you and I, that talk like you and I, that move like you and I, but that black man is fighting for the interests of the white man, he is an agent of white nationalism. Is that right or wrong? No matter what his position is, no matter how nice he is, no matter how much you like him, if his interest is not your interest and he's fighting for white nationalism, then he is an agent of white nationalism. And this is what you have to know. So you and I have a duty to understand what the duties of these agents are, whether they be black or white. But before we do that, we have to understand what agents are. When the plantation was overrun and the white man could no longer afford to keep his plantation, and he had went to war to reinstill this new colonization called sharecropping, right? Where the black man would have his own land, would pay his own dues, and the owner of that land that he's buying it from, he would have to pay him a certain fee. Is that right or wrong? And when he would pay them that fee, the man never got finished paying the land off. Every time the black man did his math, he had already paid the land off. But when the white man did his calculation, the black man could never pay the land off. Every time he talked to the black man was deep in debt. If he paid the land off, he owed the man in credit, which made him to have to farm the land another 5 to 7 years. I'm just telling you how it works. So instead of putting white folks on that land, because it'd be a bad investment, listen to the word investment, to put white people on that land because it would remind the black people too much of slavery. And then you have these race riots going on where black people are overrunning the plantation, killing white folks, and white folks are overrunning the plantation, or rather coming back from other plantations and killing black folks. They said, no, we can't do this. We got to put one of them in charge, somebody that looks like them, that can talk like them, that can mediate between them and us, but this person have to have our interest. So at this point in sharecropping, which was somewhere around 1866 through 1896, the white man, and in some states it went longer, states like Mississippi, states like Alabama, rural Georgia, and other places like that, sharecropping went longer. But what happened was, when they would sharecrop, they put a black man in charge who would come and get those fees. Normally, brothers and sisters, this black person was somebody who was the son of that slave owner who had been mating with his mother, which was a slave to the white man that he's collecting the money for. Again, the white man would get his son, right, that he had by a slave, to lord over the plantation, or rather the new plantation called the sharecropping, so that he could get the money that he needed, so he could get the insurance that he needed and the assurance that he needed to know that he'd be able to make a profit, right, off those that were on the plantation that had been given a second name called sharecropping. And so that black man had become an agent of the white man, right, to help his institution stay intact. Now, that's the lower level of the agent, because that agent was a house agent. Whereas one time these same people used to be in the house with the master because they were children that the master had by slaves. These same individuals that the white man sent away to Europe to invest in his interests, he sent his mulatto, his child that he had by slaves, he will send them to Europe so that once this individual will go to Europe, they will come back, right? Come back to a knowledge that that they didn't understand about themselves, right? So because they didn't identify with the slave, they didn't even identify with their own mother or father. They believed that they were better learned than their mother or father. That's the white man and the black mother. Once you understand this, and so when he came back to do business, because that's what they studied, and not feeling any attachment to the system of slavery nor segregation, not even the master's house, they professed a type of independence. Peace, brother. Peace, brother Demetrius. Glad to see you. They professed a type of independence where they were lord, right, over the blacks that were in oppression because they never saw themselves as black. And if proof of which, if you look at Raven Simone, for the longest time, she said she wasn't black. For the longest time, she said she wasn't African American. And so one of the white people asked her, what are you? If you're not black and you're not African American. She said, I'm not, I'm just American. So a white person gave her a wake-up call because they start calling her a nigger, a confused nigger. And you saw Raven Simone after that was identifying all she could with black people. So what I'm trying to tell you is, to the white man, even though he used them as a tool, to the white man, there's no difference in his seed by a black woman, the mulatto nigger, because that's what she is, that's what he feel like she is, the brown nigger and the black nigger, all of them are niggers to the white man. All of them niggers. If you got a rich nigger or a poor nigger, if they're both black, they're both niggers. The only difference is that one of the niggers are rich and the other nigger is poor. If you want to use the term a house Negro, that's fine if you want to use it. But just understand that to the white man, to him, that you just have a wealthy nigger and you have a poor nigger. If he's middle class, you got a middle class nigger. But to the white man, they're all niggers. To the white man, we're all niggers. So there's no exception. There's no exceptions. And that's what I want to tell you. So when you say agents, here are agents that were created by the white man from the beginning to do what? To break down the unity in the black community, to destroy any powerful institution the black community has, to take away the ability of one to become independently wealthy, economically wealthy, and to become socially wealthy. And let's talk about those. When you become independently wealthy, that means you're able to do things on your own. You've created your own source of income, your own source of communication. You come together. And see, the white man is an individualist. You have to understand that. The white man is an individualist. And so being an individualist doesn't work for us because all the wealth that we have, whether we be in Africa, whether we be in Cuba, whether we be in Haiti, whether we be in Barbados, wherever we may be, India, in Saudi Arabia, in Russia, wherever we may be, we gain wealth and gain the most powerful wealth when we're united as a people. The white man's system falls because he is the individual. And capitalism as an individual system will never work. It will always destroy itself. It will always feed on itself because it is an individual system. It is not a united system, right? A village type system that shares the wealth and pool the wealth that no one would be in poverty. In the system of capitalism, you have wealthy people and you have poor people. And in between that, they created something called middle class for the Democrat conservative. And you have to understand that. So when we talk about agents, we're talking about black people and white people that are married to black people, and white people who pretend to be black, and mulattoes who are the result of integration that are fighting for the system of the white man. You have to understand that. There's the one thing you have to understand. If you don't understand that, you're finished. If you don't understand that. And you have to understand that you have agents in this system because this system is not powerful enough to stand on its own. Because it teaches democracy, but it speaks hypocrisy. You have to understand that. That this is not a democratic society, but it's a hypocritic society. That is not a democracy, it's a hypocrisy. And this hypocrisy shows you and I that it can't survive without us. So even though Americanism is racism, and there can be no denying that, and that in Americanism there is white privilege and racism, then you have to understand that the white man, no matter who they are, I don't care if they got a black wife or the white woman has got a black husband. I don't care if they got black kids. They're not willing to sacrifice one iota, one jot, or one tittle, their white privilege to make sure that you're equal. You have to know that, and you're a fool if you don't know it. And shame on me if I don't tell you, brothers and sisters. This is stuff that you have to know. So when we said the agents, who are they? You have white people that act like black people. These are agents. These are agents. You have the mulattoes that are created to hate black culture and hate themselves through public education that is not created for you or I. These are agents. Black people who have self-hate. Black people who hate themselves so much that they worship white people. They are agents, either conscious or unconscious, that are working for white folks. And then, who are the other agents? Black people that they set in white institutions or black institutions that work to help white nationalism succeed. Why? They do that because they're invested in the system and they're receiving too much money from that system, and they're not willing to let it fall just to make sure that you and I are free. So that tells you that they believe in the system of capitalism. And if you believe in it to the point where you're willing to destroy your community, that means that you are an agent for white nationalism. When you see white preachers, these are agents for white nationalism. Now, I know that there are people saying right now, brother, hold on, brother. Now you're judging the preacher, and they're saying, well, Farrakhan is friend with Father Flager. They don't even know. And it's a shame. They don't even know that Farrakhan works for the system of white nationalism. He does. And this is the reason we're having these shows. Because we're talking about it. We're talking about it, and we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Because when we end up, the place where you and I should end at, once we gotten through all the history, so that I know that you have a thorough knowledge and understanding of what this agent is and what it means to be an agent, then we'll go to talk about in levels this system, this society, what it was created for, why Dr. Khalid Muhammad was assassinated, who assassinated him, why Minister Malcolm was assassinated, who assassinated him, which is the same person. What is so important about James Best as it relates to Dr. Khalid Muhammad, as it relates to Malik Zulu Shabazz, another agent of black nationalism, and as it relates to Louis Farrakhan, another agent in the Nation of Islam, and according to Farrakhan, because he's not teaching Elijah Muhammad. So we'll begin to understand that. Then we'll get to the last three before we start to break off for 3 days. Then after we get to the last three, which are who is Reverend Cleage? What is the Shrine of the Black Madonna? The assassination of Albert B. Cleage, and one of those earlier we'll talk about Cleage meeting Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and then we'll talk about the Shrine of the Black Madonna and break it down. Then we'll start going to 3 days a week, where we'll be building up each time. Give us time to bring more people in so we'll be able to discuss why the latter nationalists in the 90s all the way to 2001 had to be killed. I want you to understand this. And this is very, 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 very important. Anyone that surround themselves nationalistically with white people are in danger, no matter how sincere they are. They're in danger of being manipulated, used, or their people being manipulated and used for the purpose of white people. Brothers and sisters, don't forget to thumbs up, to like, and also subscribe. I want to thank you for your participation tonight. But certainly thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And if you thumbs down, do that too. I appreciate that too. Leave your comment in the section, please. But we'll begin to understand that one man from 1956, one man from 1956 was put in place to be intercepted by Minister Malcolm. So they already set him in place. He knew what he was there for. Now, had it not been Minister Malcolm, it would have been Brother Jeremiah X. Peace, brother. Crack kills, peace. It would have been Jeremiah X that would have intercepted him. Nonetheless, somebody in the Muslim movement would have intercepted Louis Farrakhan because he was an agent from the beginning. Now, I know that a lot of people find it hard to believe. And that's why so many, he knows the truth. And there are others that know the truth too. The rank and file Muslims don't know. But Dr. Khalid, in analogy, and Steve Coakley, we talked about it. And we all talked about these things way earlier on. Earlier on, when he began to see the deviation that Farrakhan was taking. But not only Farrakhan, let's go further than that. It was foolish, and I want you to concentrate with me on this. It was foolish for Marcus Garvey to let white folks know how invested he was into black nationalism and black liberalism. I'll tell you why. Because we had some things working for us. We had some things working for us in place before it was ever stopped. For one thing, America had created Liberia. This is the first mistake that the white man made. His very first mistake. Because he did that in order as a pretext to learn how to control African governments. So he created Liberia, Monrovia. James Monroe created Monrovia, which is Liberia in Africa. He wanted to test and see how it worked, so he put his own puppet figures in place. He took Delaney, who came from here, and put Martin Delaney as the first president of Liberia. Peace, my sister D. Peace, sister. Glad to see you always. And he went over there and pulled with him certain African Americans that were going to help him make this. Notice I said African Americans. They believed that they were American. They was going to help him make this a reality. Now, the only reason that Monrovia was built was for the use of the white men and Americanism and Europeanism. So anything, transaction that had to take place in another country over in Africa, Monrovia serves as a satellite because the white man made it. You understand what I'm saying? So the biggest mistake that Marcus Garvey made, his biggest mistake was trying to import black people over into an area that America owned. It wouldn't have been a mistake for Ghana or Nigeria or the other places. but to send them to Liberia or anywhere close to what Liberia, which is Ghana, Nigeria, and Gambia, would have also been a mistake, but it wouldn't have been as much a mistake as it was to send them to Liberia. Because again, this is the place that America owns. To this day, America owns Liberia. So, and I want you to understand that that's true, brother. Greetings, Brother Chris. Race First by Dr. Tony Martin bears witness. And that is a true statement. That is a true statement. Our sister Donna Sharif, bless her heart, I was married to a Jabranga. I was married in Jabranga, Nigeria. Monrovia is the capital. My husband is from Nigeria. So the sister knows, can bear witness. The sister Donna can bear witness that this is true. That America put the first president. This is America's test with colonialism, brothers and sisters. They put the first president in Monrovia. Monrovia was created by James Madison. See, this was a test. James Madison created Monrovia. It was for, because the system of slavery was falling. Because it was falling, they had to become international in the perspective of colonialization. Where did they learn it from? They learned this from England. You'll find out that these things begin to happen when the system of slavery under European system of slavery began to fall. And so earlier on, Europe knew that slavery wasn't an end, but it was merely a beginning of oppression, beginning of the system of oppression to gain free labor and to gain the machinery, right, of control over black people. It was just a beginning. Greeting, brother Black Seminole. Peace be unto you, Black Power. And so we have to understand that the system of segregation is older than the system of slavery, in the sense that when the white man first came to Africa, he segregated the slave, right? Segregated them. Another way of saying he ostracized them based on their race, right? After he integrated, which was the first act of war, with them to make them docile, right? Because he had produced children. He produced children, so he made them docile in the act of integration by creating a hybrid. I don't like using that term, but I got to say it what it is. In other words, scientifically, someone that was neither black nor white in perspective, although they were more black than white. But it was merely a tool for him to use. And after 25 years of integrating with someone that he was going to enslave anyway, after 25 years of integrating and allying with other chieftains that he was paying to help colonize other agents, African countries who were serving as agents or satellites, so that the white man, after 25 years, could perfectly integrate sexually, racially, economically, and otherwise with companies and countries to enslave blacks. Now, I want you to understand that this system that the white man had created and these satellites, which are other countries that he used, right, to enslave other African countries, was a doomed system in the sense that the white who had enslaved these black countries also enslaved the very one that was helping him enslave those black countries. So he's shown in the system that he can't be trusted, right? He couldn't be trusted. Was this anything new to the African? It wasn't new, because the elders of the communities told them not to mingle, right, with anyone that wasn't in the African race, because their investments had nothing to do with Africa. And because Africa was already experiencing trouble from these invaders, they told us, told our ancestors through DNA, told them through history and action, that these are not our friends. How did they know this? If you look at a place, today it's called Libya. In the past, it was called Carthage in the Platonic War. The Mediterranean, which were the albino white, the Albinus Africanus, and the Albina Africanus, had already tried to overtake Africa in the northern region. So much so that the African colonies band together to create somewhat of the first African national coalition against the whites that were coming out of the Mediterranean to take over their area, and who were kidnapping blacks and working them as slaves in order that they could save their country. So literally, the white man came to Africa because they were fighting to survive, and met a dormant people who were civilized and intelligent, who didn't believe in prisons, who had a law that told them not to kill, who had a law that told them to worship God and to treat man, right? To love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and treat man or their neighbor, other African countries, as themselves. When that law was made, the Decalogue, the law of Moses, the 10 laws, the Decalogue, was created for African countries to live together in peace and to not violate the universal statutes of morality. Here a man comes into a peaceful climate, into a peaceful garden of Eden. I hope you're with me. And he don't understand the teachings, and he don't understand the intelligence of cooperation and love. And so the only thing he knows is war, blood, and bloodshed. And that's what he brings to Africa. He doesn't know anything about hospitality. The only thing he knows is war. He doesn't know anything even about cooking food, because he was a cannibal when he came there. He knows nothing about peace. All he knows is war. So the man wasn't civilized. That's right, sister. He don't know how to respect the land and the animals. Proof of which, he's killed out almost all of them today. Literally killed almost all the wild game today. Literally have caught all the fish out of the ocean because he wasn't trained to produce and reproduce for the land and to care for it. So this is the same devil that did evil. So if the father is evil, then you know that the children are also evil. Brothers and sisters, our sister say, I know all the history of Liberia. This is Sister Donna Sharif. Thank our sister for this. Their hands have always been controlled in Liberia. Every president they've had, they have controlled, except Charles Taylor, and they took him down. That's right. That's right. Initially, when they got Charles in there, Charles Taylor, you should do the research on that. Initially, when they got him in there, he was such a brilliant brother, until they thought that he would be better for their system of white supremacy and superiority, because that's what they teach, colonialization. But this quickly failed because he wasn't willing to sell out. And this is how you know when someone is real or unreal. You look at Patrice Lumumba. If you look at him, they couldn't get Patrice Lumumba to turn on the people of the Congo. They couldn't even get him to stop speaking truth. So once the white man figured that he couldn't turn Patrice Lumumba, you'll find out that he was killed. Then you get Pena Millere, who was also a friend of Minister Malcolm. When he found out that when Lumumba is killed, then Pena is killed, and then you find later that Minister Malcolm is killed, because all of these was international interference with the organization called colonization. Because I tell you again, that America is nothing more than a plantation and the latest system of colonization on the map that is falling. And if you look, just as the systems had fallen in Africa, and the Africans had fought to get the system back from other Africans that were mulattoes that the white man had left in charge to do their wickedness. When the clash happened, you found that the blacks had ended up fighting other blacks that were in office, using armies against them in order to free their own people. So you had mulatto Africans fighting against original Africans to keep the power of the white man, to keep him in power. And they'd had to end up fighting these people, getting them out of the way in order to take over their own communities, their own cities, their own what was once colonies. They turned back into African providences, and what was once states, they turned them back into countries. And this is something that you must know. So certainly the white man is wicked, our sister. Certainly is wicked. Very wicked. Brother Black Seminole said very wicked. And so we have to understand that, and that's another good point. Let's talk about Nelson Mandela. Thank you, Sister Donna. Nelson Mandela, nothing but an agent. He was an agent that was turned inside of the colony prison there in Johannesburg. He was turned in the prison. This is the reason he divorced Winnie Mandela. This is why he divorced her. Winnie Mandela was a rider for the people. That's right, sister. She stood for the people. She fought for the people. Dr. Khaled talks about this in No More Negro Stuff. He talked about it in another speech, African systems, African leaders. No woman can rise above her country. No man can rise higher than this woman, and his woman is the country. So he talked about this in these speeches. Because Winnie Mandela stood up for African people and wasn't willing to give the whites that had consumed Johannesburg any power to reset themselves in South Africa. And if you look, when they got Robert Mugabe, was a different kind of leader. They couldn't control Robert Mugabe. Soon you find when they couldn't control him, and he told the white people to get out, get off of the land of South Africa and get out. You want you out of Africa, soon you find that Robert Mugabe come up dead. So anybody they can't control is dead. If you look back in history, when they killed Minister Malcolm, they killed other ministers. Within the Nation of Islam, the CIA and FBI, they killed them through their agents. I told you who the agent is. The agent is the one that will look out for the interests of the white man. And all you got to do is figure out who the agents were attacking the Nation of Islam, attacking the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, attacking Minister Malcolm X, and trying to destroy the Nation of Islam at its zenith. If you find out who was doing that, you'll find the agents that were destroying the Nation of Islam. You will find the agents. So, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying is that they're hiding among us in plain sight. And I teach this so that you can learn it, because I know the truth will make you free. Don't forget to like and subscribe, brothers and sisters. Definitely hit the thumbs up. Get the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. And if you get a thumb down, that's fine too. Nonetheless, give me a thumb. So as our sister said, when Mandela was let out, went around with a cross, dressing white man, that's true, reading to African children in schools. Well, you look, Sister Donna, that's an agent. That's an agent. Now, when you look, two influences. Now, and I'm going to say this. Wesley Muhammad said that the rap community are the gods of the black community. That's the truth. They are. They're the gods of the black community, the rap community, because they reach out and they touch the children. They talk about experiences, like experiences with children, and they identify. Now look, the white man has control of the rappers. Name me one rapper that the white man don't control, and I'll show you a rapper that's dead. He didn't control Tupac. Tupac is dead. He didn't control Biggie. Biggie is dead. He didn't control Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle is dead. He didn't control, what's the other rapper's name? Young Dolph. And you find out that Young Dolph is dead. Any one of the white man can't control, he's dead. But you see these rappers that are still alive, talking foolish knowledge, they're not rappers that have stood up. And anyone that have stood up, then the white man took their influence and their power from them. And soon, you mark my words, if they begin to speak stronger, you'll see them die too. So the white man killed out the true rapper and brought in this thing called gangster rap that is misleading my children. And you look, brothers and sisters, these rappers are cross-dressing. They're sleeping with one another. They're talking homosexuality like it's common. And you look at Puffy, he's even starting to wear wigs now. He made his middle name is called Love. And that's a subject for a different day. But I just wanted to talk to you about these agents hiding among us in plain sight and what they are doing. What they are doing when they hide among us. What are their duties? What are they trying to do? And brothers and sisters, I hate the fact that this has come to an end. But it's been wonderful as usual. And we talked about these cross-dressing rappers, which is a real problem we have in our community. A real problem. Now they got not just cross-dressing rappers, now they're those that are getting their sex change, like Lil Nas, having their bodies augmented and all of that. And we come to find out something that we've known all along. We've known it the entire time, that in the black community, we've known it the entire time, that in the black community, homosexuality is happening among rappers. How did this happen, brothers and sisters? The only way that this could happen is that the white man, with his money influence, right, and the influence of technology, would take anyone that would be considered a leader to you and I, right, and manipulate them ahead of time and make them the standard for other young children in the community looking at them. And if you look today, after they did that, they began to raise a whole nation of black people that are advocating for LGBTQ, advocating for lesbianism, advocating for homosexuality, advocating for bisexuality, advocating for transgenderism and all of that. Lesbianism and all of that. All because when he sent agents in the community, it's that dirty and that futile until if we don't get the truth out, and if we don't speak the truth, if we don't set a standard for change, if we don't set a standard that will raise that man from a dead level to a live one, to a perfect perpendicular, then we'll find people still in the grave. We'll find some sick, and we'll find some even physically dead because they trusted in this type of system. So, brothers and sisters, I appreciate being speaking on this message and being a part of this show and you joining in with me. And as our sister has said, Sister Donna, if you leave a black woman unprotected by her men, how can a community survive? It's genocide, and that's the truth. And that's what they did for us, sister. That's what they did. They taken the black man out of the community. They taken the black man away from the black woman and the black child. And you see now that we don't have men. We have men that look like men. They look like men. But when you get closer, you find out that they're too soft to be real men. And they're in the closet women. In the closet psychological women. So brothers and sisters, we're coming. You'll see us. You'll see me back on MTV, certainly. You'll certainly see me back on there. And we'll be talking about some deeper knowledge for you to learn. Because it's time for us to learn and to build up. Now remember, brothers and sisters, anyone that wants to join the African American Defense League, all you have to do is promise to protect black people. And first of all, protect you, yourself, and your family. That's your first duty. That's your first post. So I welcome you aboard just by making that decision. Don't forget to drop something in the Cash App. I don't care if it's 50 cents to help us to get this word out and to help our feeding mission. We have feeding mission where we're organizing to take care of our children. Many of them are not eating during the summer, so we have to take care of them. We have to make sure that they're eating. So make sure you drop the Cash App. Make sure, brothers and sisters, that you, if you want a book, just touch the link at the top and you'll be able to get a book. And anything that we could do for you, please let us know. But I thank you. I want to thank you for continuing to bless the show. And we got some ground to cover, right? But we're going to cover all this ground, and then we'll be meeting at least 3 days a week so that we'll be able to get more information out and have extra time to prepare. But we're in such a situation. We're in such a fix right now that we've got to get all of this information out to discuss with you all the dangers that you and I are under. Now, there's this white lady, Jane Elliott, that's coming before everyone. And this lady is teaching that there's no such thing as white people, that we're all black and we're all from Africa. Now, it seems harmless, right? When she says this, it seems harmless. But you have to understand, brothers and sisters, that when she's saying this, she's trying to bypass all the evil that the white man has done to us. I'll certainly be back Thursday, brother. I'll be on there. I'll certainly be on Morris World TV Thursday night. I'll definitely be on there. And I will certainly bring on with me. I want the sister to come in. I certainly wanted the sister to come in. She's not feeling well. Sister Joanna is not feeling well. And so she hasn't been able to come on, Sister D. But I'm going to have her back on as soon as she's feeling better. She's been a bit under the weather, so she hadn't been able to come on. But I definitely am going to get her on because I've been missing the knowledge of the sister. And I've been missing what she can give us. And anything about a true Muslim, he will always bring his sister on to also encourage the sisters that are there. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to have Sister Joanna on here. And as soon as she's well, I don't want to push her because she helps me in the clinic and she helps me when I'm doing anything, speaking engagements and all of that. And I really am blessed to have her help. I really am blessed to have her help. But I'm definitely going to have her on there. I look forward to seeing you all Thursday night. I look forward to seeing you Thursday night on Morris World TV. But we'll still be meeting at 7 o'clock. We'll still be meeting at 7 o'clock on Thursday. And then after that, at 9 o'clock on Thursday, we'll be going on to Harker Bay's show, the Minister to Harker Bay of Morris World TV. So we'll still be meeting at 7 o'clock. We'll still be meeting at 7 o'clock on Thursday. And then after that, we'll join our brother Taharka to talk about some deeper issues. So brothers and sisters, be praying for us. God, through you and through Brother Taharka and others, are helping us and building us up. But we certainly need your help as the enemy is coming against us, trying to attack our clinic and trying to attack our daily lives. So we definitely need your help. And don't ever think that the brother is begging. I'm just letting you know what's going on. I'm letting you know what's going on so you'll know how to help us. And so any cash app you send or any book that you give buy from us is a good book, and you're going to enjoy the book. We also have candy bars. We have candy bars for independent families. We have candy bars. So you will see that candy bar on the next show. Donate $5 for the candy bar. And it's a great piece of candy. The sister's creation. This candy bar she's putting out is things she uses to raise money. And we're thankful for the sister. And that's why she is so busy. That's why the sister is so busy. So I want to thank you for all that you do. And I'm sure she thanks you as well. And be sure to tell her hello in the comment. Be sure to tell Sister Joanna hello and to get well very quickly. So we expect to have her with us very soon. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much. And I salute you. And I say unto you, peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. And if you're Christian, I say unto you, peace be unto you. And no matter who you are, just know that if you're black, we're on the same team. We have the same problem. We're in the same bag, and we're on the same boat. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.